The suspected shooter of the Brown University, one that claimed the lives of two individuals, injured nine others, and also the death, the assassination of this MIT professor. They believe that that suspect is dead. Has been announced as Claudio Neves Valente, a 48-year-old Portuguese national, last known address in Miami, Florida. We have learned that he used to be a Brown University student over 25 years ago. And it was really interesting because there was reporting earlier on today whether or not the same person was connected to these two events happening in the same week. And you're hearing from authorities that not only is there evidence to establish that, but also there's evidence that this individual and the professor had actually gone to the same school in Lisbon. So there's a lot we're breaking down right now. I want to bring on News Nation Chief Washington anchor Leland Vittert. Leland, thanks so much for coming on. I want to talk about the Rhode Island press conference. There were two things that stood out to me. One was identifying the suspect, the circumstances of his death, how authorities were able to track him down, the police work. But number two, and this is something you talked about a lot on your show, it seemed to me the big theme was defending and explaining the actions of law enforcement because there has been a spotlight on them for the last 5 days. What was your takeaway from that?
Always good, right, when you have an assassin off the streets. And that is the very good news. Beyond that, that press conference in Rhode Island was one of the more shameful things I've ever seen in my 20-plus years in television news. And here is why. Because it showed a complete lack of understanding by the mayor, who began with a self-congratulatory curtain call, through the police chief, the attorney general, the governor, the head of the state police, that but for their sloppiness and missteps in the first hours of this investigation, that MIT professor might still be alive. And that was completely lost on him. It was completely lost on him when Brian Enton asked the question. It was completely lost on Brown University when it was brought up the serious lapses in their campus security. And instead, they acted like a middle-aged basketball team that just won the men's league on Thursday night at the bar, slapping each other on the back. It was something I'd never seen. And it was hard to imagine that grown men and women in those positions couldn't understand how all of us watching would sit there and think that they were taking a curtain call and the mayor sounded like he was enjoying it and was going to announce his re-election campaign or something. Forgive me, I'm just still gobsmacked by it.